So today we're going to move on to adding fractions with unlike denominators. And if you remember our fraction song, we sing that when you add or subtract, the denominators must be the same. And so therefore, when you have fractions with unlike denominators, that poses a problem. So I'm going to teach you how to do it. So I want you to have your interactive notebook open to your new page. I want you to label it adding fractions with unlike denominators. If you need to go ahead and pause, I did put in the instructions in your Echo to have it with you, but that's okay if you didn't see that. Go ahead and pause and grab your interactive notebook and let's label it. Oops, my pen went off. Adding fractions with, that's a W, unlike denominators. You learned how to add and subtract with like denominators. Now you're going to step it up a notch. And that's an N. I'm sorry, guys. It is much harder to do this on an iPad. Okay, so instruction 1. And again, pause this anytime you need to catch up to me. Instruction 1, you're going to draw 2 rectangles. So here's 1 and 2. So we're going to do 1/2 plus 1/4. We cannot add these two together. You cannot say that is 1/6. That is absolutely not true. So let's look at how to do this. 2, we're going to break into parts to model. So I'm going to draw those rectangles again. And yes, I want you to draw each step. It's nice to have it set up all nicely in your notebook to look at. So first, we're going to draw, I'm actually going to change this color to that color and 1/4 to green so that it makes a little more sense. Okay, so I'm going to draw 1/2 in this rectangle. And I'm going to draw 1/4 in this rectangle. And please remember, I need this to be usable. So if you're super sloppy or just scribbling, that won't help you later when you need it. So notice I partitioned this rectangle into 4 parts to represent the denominator, and I need 1/4 of it. Okay. So we're going to write that instruction. We're going to say partition the first box vertically. And then we're going to partition second box horizontally. All right, today's first clue, we're going to take a pause. Today's first clue for checking that people watch the entire videos is that number 1 is, you're going, on question number 1 in time to climb, you're going to say blue. All right, go ahead and jot that down somewhere. Blue. All right, going back to this, we're going to create like units. So we're going to redraw those. So I'm going to redraw what we had. It'll make sense in just a second. But now we're going to create like units. You're going to divide the first box horizontally into the same units as the second box. And if you're having a hard time reading my writing, just because it's really hard to write on an iPad, I'll go ahead and put a picture of my original on the next slide. But remember, you're watching me do this because that's what's going to help you make sense of it. Don't just stop this and copy. In fact, I'll give you your second clue to keep you going. Number 2 is going to be pink on your time to climb. Okay, as the second box, which means I'm going to pick up my color and I'm going to show fourths, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 units in the second box. All right, then you're going to partition the second box vertically like the first box. Okay, and the first box was partitioned into halves, so we're going to do the same here. Now, number 4. Count the shaded units. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's 4 parts out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you've got 4/8 now. Instead of 1/2, you have 4/8, which in yesterday's lesson we talked a lot about equivalent fractions. Well, 1/2 is equivalent to 4/8. We didn't change the value. We're merely giving it a common denominator with our other fractions so that we can add it. Okay? So we're going to add that. Ah, shoot, I wish I'd, hold on a second. Let me use this color. We're going to add that to, we have 1, 2 parts out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it now has a common denominator. So you have 4/8 plus 2/8 equals, and don't mark up your boxes over here like I did. That was just to show you. Equals 4 plus 2 is 6, and when we add, your denominator stays the same, and it's the same when you finish adding. Do not put 16. That is not correct. We are dealing with eighths. We are simply adding eighths. You don't change that. So it's 6/8. And of course, we learned to simplify, and we know that 6 and 8 are both even numbers. So we're going to divide by 2, and we have 3/4. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you the original if it's clearer for you. Also, go ahead and jot down that number 3 for time to climb is red, and I appreciate that you're watching the entire video. That tells me you're learning. All right, guys.